Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a bill introduction. It's RS 2478 on behalf of Pheasants Forever and Quails Forever, a new license tag bill.
Any questions or objections? Seeing none, the bill will be introduced. Do we have any other bill introductions? Jessica Lucas.
Good morning, committee. Jessica Lucas for Sedgwick County, RS 2995. This is a bill relating to vehicle registration and license plate procedures.
Committee questions or objections? Seeing none, the bill will be introduced. Thank you. Any further bill introductions? Seeing none, committee, I'd like to turn our attention to the budget. Looking for a motion to recommend that we accept the budget summary as it was introduced, as we presented it. I forgot the motion. We can concur with the budget subcommittee. Kyle, what's the motion I need to do? Yeah. Looking for a motion. Does anybody want to make that motion? Senator Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that the Senate Transportation Committee approve the budget recommendation as presented.
Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Argerbright. Any further discussion? Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the motion. It was brought to my attention through the Department of Revenue's budget that we may have a little bit of an issue. We're paying more for the car tags than getting back in the system, and that money goes to the highway fund. And I know the highway fund's not going to want to hear this, and they're going to shoot the messenger. But we do need to cover our cost. So I won't be making an amendment on this budget, but I will give you a heads up that we will be making a recommendation on the revenue budget in tax this week to address the cost of the license plate system. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Recommendation is adopted. Turn our attention to Senate Bill 324. Adam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 324 would prohibit all drivers from using a mobile telephone while driving through a school zone or construction zone while a speed zone would be enforced. The bill provides exceptions allowing the use of a mobile devices by one, a law enforcement officer or emergency services personnel acting within the scope of the law enforcement officers or emergency service personnel's employment. A person operating a motor vehicle that is halted at a location where a vehicle can safely and lawfully remain stationary. And 3, a mobile telephone that is being used with a hands-free device. Additionally, individuals will be allowed to use a mobile telephone to 1, report current or ongoing illegal activity to a law enforcement agency, or 2, prevent imminent injury to a person or property, 3, summon medical or other emergency assistance, or 4, relay information between a transit or for-hire operator and the operator's dispatcher if the device is permanently affixed to the motor vehicle. And then lastly, holding a mobile telephone when the use would be restricted would constitute prima facie evidence of a violation. The fine for those found guilty under this new infraction would be $60, and the bill also provides a provision where law enforcement would be required to give a warning citation to a driver who violates this provision until July 1 of 2027. And with that, I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
This appears to be the same bill as last year with the exception of the dates and the 17-year-old piece.
That's correct. Those pieces were removed, and the remaining contents were the same.
Excellent, thank you. Committee, questions for Adam? Seeing none, thank you. First up, Travis Lowe. Third time's a charm on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Travis Lowe from the Braden, Heidner, Lowe & Associates firm, here today representing AAA Kansas. AAA Kansas proudly serves over 350,000 Kansans across the state. And on behalf of AAA, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to offer support for legislation for the third time that we do believe would improve road safety on the roads and, of course, for innocent bystanders nearby. Senate Bill 324, as Provider Siebers described, prohibits the handheld use of a cell phone for all drivers in two different scenarios: in construction zones when the workers are present, and in school zones during the designated hours when the children are arriving and leaving the schools. Now, AAA has worked with a large group of stakeholders over the last several years. Many of those are in this room, and for the veterans of this committee, this is not an unfamiliar issue. This committee has advanced similar legislation in the past, and your counterparts across the rotunda, actually in the full House of Representatives, have passed a similar bill on the House floor 3 different times 2 years ago. That is now less what we call a limited hands-free bill. It is slightly modified from those previous versions. As the chairman inquired earlier, it does not include a component related to the driver's age. So we want to make very clear this bill is only pertaining to 2 different scenarios that we'll describe in greater detail shortly. The Department of Transportation will speak later, and they'll talk a little bit more about the statistics and the need for this bill, but roughly 1 out of 4 crashes in Kansas are related to distracted driving. We know this is a loaded term. There's lots of different ways a driver can be distracted, but we all could probably admit that handheld usage while driving is a distraction in some degree, and we all probably have examples of things that we've seen driving down 2-lane highways, interstates, where the driver passing you or meeting you was distracted and it could be a problem. So let's talk specifically about the approach of Senate Bill 324 here today. And we would like to be clear, when we're talking about handheld usage, we're talking about holding the phone like this up to your head. We're not talking about using your phone in speakerphone mode while it's sitting in the console. We're not talking about using your phone in hands-free Bluetooth mode while you're driving down the road as well. So we're talking about handheld usage of the hand in the phone. This only pertains to 2 different scenarios, as we just mentioned. This is detailed on page 1 of the bill in line 17 or lines 7 to 11. First is the school zones during the designated hours. Almost every time you enter a school zone, it shows where those designated hours are. Sometimes there are actually even flashing lights accompanying that sign to let you know when those hours are in effect. And so that's when this bill would take place. It would not take place when you drive through that school zone, that street, or that roadway, when it's not those designated hours. During the day and the night, only during those 2 specific scenarios, so it's extremely limited. This would not pertain to college campuses, and it would not apply to the parked cars in those school zones during the designated hours, while the mom or the dad is waiting for Johnny or Sally to locate them, and they're calling them on the phone to do that. So that is not part of this bill. The road construction zone piece, and we'll hear more from the Kansas Contractors and Association in a minute, this only pertains to when the workers are present. Like the school zones, those are also clearly marked with orange signs entering and exiting those designated roadways for the construction zones, and it only pertains when those workers are present. Of course, we think the best practice is for that to be for the construction zones entirely. But again, this is a limited scope to address concerns of different legislators. Our written testimony gives examples, and you hear more about that again for future conferees. But we do know there are uneven lanes, rerouting of lanes, barriers, equipment, and most importantly, workers on the side of the road, which really speaks to the genesis of making sure this bill is pertaining to innocent bystanders while drivers are going down our roads. Back to how we arrived at Senate Bill 324 before you today, the majority of states actually already have a full ban usage on handheld phones. So that's the majority of the states in this republic. So we don't go near as far as that. This is a limited approach, but the construction zone and the work zone piece is mimicked in similar nearby states like Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, and Arkansas. As we mentioned, we had a large group of stakeholders that are here in this room to help craft this bill. There were a lot of eyes from those stakeholders, from agencies, from law enforcement, checking definitions, and we did our due diligence over the last 3 years. We know vehicle technology is evolving, and we do not want this legislation to impede current or future technology. We worked with the auto manufacturers and telecom groups to make sure that this just pertains to the handheld usage and doesn't curb other abilities to use technology in those vehicles. We also would like to point out this bill does not supersede local government. As you know, some jurisdictions in the state have elected already to have more stringent laws as it pertains to handheld usage of a phone. City of Manhattan, as an example, that comes to mind. So this does not supersede that. It just creates a minimum layer that would be effective across the state in the two scenarios that we have described in great detail here this morning. There are also a number of exemptions for this bill. If you look at page 1, line 12, there is actually, this bill does not apply to, and that covers things like emergency calls. There's also an exemption on page 2, line 2, for use of two-way radios. We also know that educating our drivers is paramount when we're talking about changing traffic safety laws like this. And if you look at page 2, line 6, there's actually a 1-year warning period built into this bill for law enforcement to help educate drivers about this. So it's literally a warning period until July 1st, 2027, theoretically 1 year after this bill would take effect. And Mr. Chairman, without stealing the thunder of our future conferees, we'll stand for any questions.
Committee questions? Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next up, we have Joel Skelly. Welcome back to the committee. I see you're wearing that nice lapel pin.
Thank you, sir. Always sport this. Pardon my voice. I'm coming off of a cold, so we'll work our way through this. My name is Joel Skelly. I'm the Director of Policy for the Kansas Department of Transportation. And as Travis mentioned, we worked with AAA as well as multiple partners as safety is a priority for KDOT on for our traveling public on the roadways. And we looked to any legislation to support any legislation that enhances that safety for the traveling public and those that work on our roadways. And when I say those that work on our roadways, that includes our contractors, of course, but also our own staff that are out on the roadways, oftentimes in harm's way. So we want to make sure that we are looking out for those folks, excuse me, at all times. We believe that this limited hands-free bill actually provides that enhancement for those folks, as well as our contractors, as well as just the people that are on the traveling roadway. As you see in our testimony, there are statistics that we have provided for you showing that there is, as Travis had mentioned, a 1 in 4 chance that people would be killed or suffer a life-threatening or life-altering injury as a result of distracted driving. This is a significant number for people to be thinking about and want to make sure that we can help reduce that or eliminate that from the folks that are out on the roadway and having to excuse me, and having that safety feature put in place. As mentioned, KDOT does believe in education being an important part of keeping our roadways safe, and as a part of that, we will develop and conduct an educational campaign in addition to that 1-year warning period that law enforcement will be providing. We do this for all new safety law changes to help educate the systems or citizens that are driving on our system. So we look forward to working with you and developing that education campaign and working with our partners to help enhance the safety for the traveling public. And we would respectfully ask the committee's support for this passage of this bill and be happy to stand for any questions at the appropriate time.
Committee questions, Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Joel, for your testimony. What's the longest range of construction that you have going on in the state?
So that would be, that's a good question. You know what, it may be a few miles long. It might even go as far as 10 plus miles in certain situations. I can find that a little more specific answer for you, but it varies depending on the construction that we're doing.
So if you could find that out, Mr. Chairman, I know a scenario this summer where you had a very lengthy time and the signs weren't marked well and people got lost. I know a couple 18-wheelers got stuck and stuff. And I'm not saying that they don't have access to a hands-free system, but it did put them in quite a predicament because they didn't know where to turn around. And I was just curious how you would see this playing out for them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate that information, and we'll look to how we're appropriately signing or correctly signing on our construction zones.
Good question. Our CDL drivers are already hands-free due to licensing requirements. Further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ed Klump.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Ed Klump. I'm here on behalf of the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police, Kansas Sheriff's Association, Kansas Peace Officers Association. We're in support of this bill. I provide some crash data in there. You get a lot of that from all of us, I suppose, so I'm not going to go through all of it. I do want to note that in my testimony at the bottom, I put the source of that data, although I failed to mention the document. It's the KDOT's 2023 crash report. Is where this information came from. You can see there the numbers are kind of astounding in these two areas we're talking about, work zones and school zones. Keep in mind that these are two areas where the people that are in those zones oftentimes are distracted from the traffic around them. And I'm talking about kids in the school zones, parents that are trying to herd their kids into the building and things like that. And then, of course, in the work zones, you have workers who's concentrating on the work they're doing. And they're not, able to just stand there and watch for the vehicle that veers out of the way because they're not paying attention. We think this bill presents a very enforceable mechanism for us, very reasonable. We appreciate the fact that, like, the work zone only applies when workers are present. We like the fact that the school zones only apply when school zones are active. And we think that's very reasonable. And Mr. Chairman, I would just like to comment how much we appreciate the work at AAA and Travis on these bills over the year. They've done a remarkable job of navigating all of these legislative hurdles and the things that come up that got us to this point where we think we've got a good bill that we can get passed in the legislature and having something meaningful happen for traffic safety related to the use of cell phones. And with that, I'll stand for questions at the proper time.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Ed. Next up, Michael White. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is my first time in front of the committee this session, I think. But I'm proud to be back. My 8th year with the Kansas Contractor Association. So I am Michael White, Executive Director of the Kansas Contractor Association. I'm not going to repeat. You have my written testimony. Obviously, I think it's pretty obvious why we stand in support of this bill. I represent member companies across the state who pride themselves in building infrastructure for not only KDOT, but for our local units of government across the state. Our priority number one is always our workers and their safety. And honestly, we want to see our workers go to work and come home safely to their families. And we are focused in on work zone safety right now. We've wanted this bill to pass this legislative body for the last few years. This year, we've introduced a bill on the House side that will improve our lighting of our construction zones on vehicles and things. We're seeing different results with different lighting out there that we want to get those statutes updated. And the other thing I'll draw your attention to, just to kind of highlight how serious we are about work zone safety, we have started in partnership with KDOT, we've started a Work Zone Safe. If you go to workzonesafe.com, and this is starting to go across the country in several states, but Kansas has adopted it in terms of a volunteer program that we are encouraging high schools to spread the word with high school students across this state to have their students go online. It's about a 45-minute program online that walks students through work zone safety. Some states are starting to mandate this of their high school kids before they can get a driver's license. We're not doing that yet. We're doing it as a voluntary program. But that's how important this is to us. It's all about education, like KDOT said. And so we stand in strong support of this bill and hope to see its passage. And if at the appropriate time, Mr. Chairman, I'll stand for questions.
Senator Argerbright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for working with high schools.
Any further questions? Do you want to thank you for pushing the work zone as the person who's been in a bucket truck? When you hear that person hitting the cones behind you, you really almost want to drop everything and grab a hold like it would do any good. But
Yeah, as you know, Senator, I mean, it's the phone call I don't like to receive from my members when they have a near miss or a close call. And like Ed said, Mr. Klump, you know, our workers are just working. They're not really paying attention to what's going on around them all the time as much as they try to be. And it's just a matter of getting people educated to slow down through those zones and pay attention and the distractions. And, you know, I appreciate what this body is trying to do with cell phones and, you know, whether it's schools or wherever. I mean, we understand what is caused when we're all focused on our cell phones. I really do appreciate the effort being made here. So thank you.
thank you. Next up, we have John Federico.
Mr. Chairman, a little surprise and probably welcome news to everybody today. John will not be testifying, so I'm here. But good morning. Really appreciate the time. I'm not going to belabor this. My name is Stephen Durst on behalf of General Motors. Really, I think General Motors and their interest in this just shows that unified front from the contractors to AAA to auto manufacturers. We really want to see this bill pass, and we have been active in the past. And as a reminder, General Motors has a massive presence in the state of Kansas at their Fairfax facility. So again, you have an employer here, a big company that really wants to see this through. I'm happy to answer any questions, but Mr. Chairman, committee, we really appreciate your efforts on all this, and hopefully we'll get it done this year.
Committee questions? Seeing none, thank you, and convey congratulations to the Fairfax plant for getting the Equinox, bringing that back home from China. It's a good thing. Kansas is even better.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's really exciting news, and again, thanks to all of you for your continued support and interest in what they're doing down there. It's a great facility we have, something we should be proud of.
Thank you. Next up, we have Bob Eckhart. On the Transportation Committee, Bob.
Well, thank you. This is my first time before this committee, so thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Bob Eckhart, and I'm representing amateur radio, and several of my amateur radio colleagues are here with me to support this. And we want you to know that we stand in support of Senate Bill 324, and we understand the need to curtail the use of operating a mobile telephone while driving. This can be a costly distraction for many people, but I also want to thank AAA and the supporters of this legislation and you all for exempting amateur radio, licensed amateur radio operators, sometimes affectionately referred to as ham radio operators. Amateur radio operators have been installing radios in their vehicles since 1935 and have been operating those radios safely and responsibly for the last 90 years. As far as we know, there has never been a vehicle accident in Kansas that was caused by a distracted amateur radio operator using the radio while operating a vehicle. It's important for me to share with you that for the 35 years that I have been in ham radio, and I'm one of almost 6,000 ham radio operators throughout Kansas, we voluntarily support activities and we stand ready to take our equipment anywhere communication is needed, and we can get it up and working very quickly. And this might well involve using our radios while operating a motor vehicle. We play vital roles in supporting communications and working with a variety of both government agencies and nonprofit organizations at the local, state, and national level. Many amateur radio operators assist their local county emergency managers as needed and the National Weather Service during severe weather events. While enacting this legislation, I want to close by thanking you for remembering what might be called America's best kept communication secret, and that would be amateur radio. I'll be glad to stand for any questions the committee might have.
Before we get to questions, I want to thank you. I think many of us on this committee have seen the amateur radio guys out there with their 2 meters sitting by the schools, watching for severe weather, watching those mesocyclones. Appreciate all the work that they do. Senator Tyson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Bob. He didn't give you much background on himself, but he's actually the Honorable Bob Eckhart, former state representative, and served in many capacities, Highway Patrol and other stuff. So thank you, Bob, for all you've done.
Well, thank you, Senator Tyson. And would probably be remiss if I couldn't introduce Dennis Krieghauser, sitting back here behind me. He's one of our fellow amateur radio operators, but he was also sworn in to the Kansas Senate to fill an open position the same day that I was sworn into the House of Representatives.
Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Captain Payne. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee. The Highway Patrol just wants to thank you all for the opportunity to come and speak in support of this bill and being respectful of your time. I won't belabor all the stats and everything you've already heard, but you've heard from many agencies and entities who are in support of this bill because it protects some of our more vulnerable people who are near roadways, which are construction workers and our students leaving school. The Highway Patrol does endorse this bill. We respectfully request the committee consider our agency's endorsement. 1 in 4 crashes are caused by distracted drivers, as you've heard. That's an astounding number, and while this bill doesn't specifically target all of those distractions, it does protect some of those who are extremely vulnerable and exposed out on the roadways as traffic's going by. So if we have the support of the construction companies, AAA, KDOT, all of who spoke in support of this bill, as well as the Kansas Highway Patrol, we would just respectfully ask that you send this bill for vote, please. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Committee questions? Seeing none, we thank you for your support over the years.
Thank you, Chair.
Committee, I want to note that we have written testimony from Phyllis Larimore, Dick Camilletti, and Jessica Allensworth. They are worth reading. Oh, Senator Cluse.
I mean, you can finish, then I can speak. Whatever the chairman would like.
They are worth reading. The one from Allensworth is really kind of touching. Senator Cluse.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate this bill, Senate Bill 324. Some of you on this committee know the passion behind that, and it's worth noting. Although distracted drivers, this is one piece, as KHP just spelled out to us. It was a number of years back that my wife's dad was tragically killed by a young driver who was going southbound at a high rate of speed, and she was on her phone, totally distracted, hit his motorcycle, killed him instantly, and a quarter mile later, the motorcycle was wedged in the front bumper, sitting upright. And so, obviously, this is very passionate to me, and this is one piece to maybe help bring awareness to distracted driving, and I would be more than pleased, Mr. Chairman, as you did approach me about carrying this bill on the floor. I would thank you for that opportunity. And another bill coming up, SB 113, that I'm also passionate about. And thank you, committee, for your time.
Senator, you are prepared to carry this bill 2 times in the prior deals. I would not change that. You worked so hard. We had issues getting it across the floor. I want to thank all the parties that came together to make sure we could accommodate the leadership and folks that had concerns. I believe we have a piece that will make it across the finish line and be signed by the governor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
You're welcome. Any further questions? Senator Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are we closing the hearing or just procedurally? I'm wondering where we are.
We're getting ready to close the hearing. Committee, we have no further proponents listed. There are no opponents or neutrals this time. With that, we'll close the hearing on 324. Senator Warren.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
With seeing no further business to come before us, we do have a full agenda this week, committee. We are adjourned.